Hello everybody, video here for you today. This is the retro no cap recap of The Curse of Oak Island season 8 episode 2 called The Boys Are Back. Originally aired November 17th, 2020. If you missed any of my recaps of previous and future episodes, there's a link to my Oak Island playlist in the upper right. Let's get into it. Previously on The Curse of Oak Island, people have been looking for an incredible treasure for 230 years. The episode opens with Rick and Marty still quarantining separately, but with Peter and Alex respectively. This was when Canada's COVID-19 pandemic protocols allowed approved people to cross the border, but they had to undergo a 14-day quarantine period before being allowed to mix with other people. Marty later says it's frustrating because he's used to being able to go about his business. They're exercising to stay safe and keeping busy to pass the time. The Nova Scotians, and Jack and Gary, who began quarantining before the Laguna brothers, have already begun working on the island as detailed in the Season 8 premiere recap. Laird, Aaron, and David McInnes are continuing to excavate the Lot 15 pine tar kiln identified in the season premiere. Aaron uncovers this rock which has a beveled edge and a hole drilled into it. Several drilled rocks have been found on the island and they are believed to be markers. Surveyor Steve Guptill is called to document the exact position. He suggests they video call Rick and Marty to let them know about it. Doug and Steve are following up on the 1988 Baringer Survey commissioned by Dan Blankenship and his partner David Tobias. It was recently found among Dan's archives. It not only shows possible tunnels to the swamp, the money pit, and under Lot 15, but also 4 metal detector hits 100 feet below the ground of precious metals, marked here by Roman numerals that, as far as they know, was not investigated further. They first drive a stake where one of the tunnels enters the cave-in pit. And apparently this was during high tide as Steve has to get wet in order to mark the start of another tunnel. Steve says that this is the same spot in which Gary and Rick found the medieval lead cross, which narrator Robert Clotworthy says is one of the most important finds in the history of Oak Island.
Holy shamoly, all right.
That's a cross.
That's a cross.
One of the Baringer metal detector hits is on this spot, which is just a little south of where they dug during the previous year. Unfortunately, they didn't know that at the time and used a 50-foot excavator when the hits were at 100 feet. At Isaac's Point, the most southeastern area on the island, Gary and Jack arrived to metal detect. This is where spoils from many years of money pit excavations were used as landfill. They're hoping that the many years of erosion due to harsh winter storms has brought any artifacts closer to the surface. The shot shows how close Isaac's Point is to Smith's Cove and gives an idea of how small Oak Island actually is. The island is a mile wide and half a mile tall, covering 140 acres. Gary finds what he thinks is a pewter, as he says, otherwise known as pewter spoon bowl. And then this pickaxe. It being short would indicate a tunneling pickaxe. Several other pickaxes have been found on the island, including one that blacksmith Carmen Legg said predated the money pit discovery in 1795 by 200 years. At the wash table in the spoils from Borehole 8A dug last season, Billy Gerhardt employees first find this button that Steve thinks is a searcher item, and what Steve thinks is bookbinding, but Laird says it may be part of a shoe. The Americans are finally out of quarantine, and Rick and Marty first go to lot 21 to look at the kiln / possible tunnel area. David says the area he is pointing at is glacial till, but it's possible there is a tunnel underneath it. The archaeologists are 100% sure that the rocks were placed there by humans. Laird says, we assume the pine tar was for marine purposes, but it could have been used for building the money pit. Alex and Jack travel to New Ross to visit Carmen Legg again. He says the pickaxe would be after 1750, late 1700s, early 1800s. He also says he never sees cracks down the eye like this one has. It means that the user was doing heavy-duty pounding to produce that amount of stress. In the war room, Gary shows Rick and Marty the ship's rigging axe head he found 2 weeks ago, but did not want to show them via video conferencing. He dates it from 1720 to 1740. Laird agrees on the dating. He has also waited to show them this copper coin, not perfectly round and with a square hole in the middle. It has markings on it as well, and the team will have it looked at by a professional. I'll be continuing retro no-cap recaps of Season 8 while also recapping the new Season 12 episodes late Tuesday nights as they air. All other episodes are in my Oak Island playlist already. I'm also doing retro no-cap recaps of Seasons 2 through 4 of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch as I have time. Seasons 1 and 5 are all done and are in the Skinwalker Ranch playlist. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Sempre avanti. Happy New Year to all.